it isn't any rules. You know, we have morals. We never lost morals, but it's ruthless in that environment. Through all that I grew up in, I still never lost my care for all types of people. I never was taught that way, not to care about all types of people, and I would never lose that. And me and people like Rob and myself, he opened doors for me to be on stages like this, because before I wasn't on stages like this. I was on rap stages rapping about, you know, violence and guns. You know, that we get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff, so I make sure I even align and come on, talking on stages like this. But you guys, the NAACP, open up doors for people like me to be able to power forward, because the things that fund us, that don't power me forward. You know, I just make sure, because I know better and I'm at an age point, I'm 36, they power us really went from when we 21 to 25, where we really don't know. I'm one of the lucky ones that made it through, where I was able to get my knowledge and sense, and I'm the one that keep the line on the rap ignorance and be able to level out conversations like these and deliver it to the young people who may not attend things like this. So I would just say I appreciate you guys for given me this opportunity, and I appreciate he didn't have to come to that prison and come see a young guy that was toting a gun once upon a time in the hood and put his name on the line when he had a lot of people telling him don't do that, and he did it. So I commend.
Shalom, welcome to another video, and as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachwadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety. To all you sincere Akim, keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. Alright, so this is going to be a quick reaction to the clip that I put in the introduction to this video. And it's Meek Mill talking about how the record labels, okay, which are pretty much all owned by 1948ers, by Israelis, that they pay more for violent lyrics, okay. And this is, you know, what we talk about. We go into how Esau, because that's who they are, they're biblical Edomites, okay, specifically Amalek, which is the chief house of Esau, one of the top dukes of Edom. All right, we talk about how they push, you know, that image. They socially engineer and program our people, all right, to be a certain way, okay, by pushing that image, pushing those messages on the minds of young and impressionable, you know, Israelite men and women, okay. And once again, one of the main ways they do it is through the music. This is a part of their wine that we always talk about, the wine of Babylon the Great. So that's the topic that we're going to dive into. All right, and Yahweh Rachazami and Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 9. It says, "Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink." All right, so not literal wine, all right, but once again, the wine of Babylon the Great, all right. And the scriptures talk about, let's get it, Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 15. Okay, it talks about, you know, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink. All right, that's, once again, it's not talking about literal wine. It's talking about that philosophy, okay, that makes our people drunk, that Babylon juice. This is Habakkuk 2 and 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that drink is a cup of wickedness, okay. Once again, these different philosophies, ideologies that they push, you know, on Jake, primarily through music, television, etc., etc. That's all a part of their wine. When our people are drunk off of it, it's caused them to err, it's caused them to stagger. That's why our people are so destroyed, okay, because instead of seeking the knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which is true wisdom, all right, they're drinking that juice that Esau has given them, okay. And that's the reason why we call Esau the devil. All right, the word devil means the slanderer, the deceiver, okay, because they slander our people by putting this image on them to where all the nations of the world, which they're going to hate us anyways because that's prophecy, but you know, we've been made a proverb and a byword primarily, all right, through Esau's wine, okay, that he's slandered the name of Jacob, okay. The true Israelites, he's, you know, portrayed us to be wild beasts, savages, criminals, thugs, or women to be whores. Okay, pretty much anything that's negative. He gave us that name of black. All right, which that's not a nationality. There's no biblical seed line called black. Okay, that word black means void of light, and then they call themselves white to make themselves out to be the savior, the angel. Okay, the beacon of light, so to speak, when it's really quite the opposite. Okay, that's actually supposed to be us, and they're the true black people. They're the true that are void of light, because only a sick and evil, twisted individual, all right, thinks about how to destroy other communities in the way that Esau does, man. Okay, but this is their MO. This is their modus operandi. This is how they think. All right, they think in a manner of how to destroy. All right, and it tells you that John 10:10. For the devil comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And once again, we call them devil because they're slanderers and also deceivers. All right, they push this nonsense on young and impressionable, Israelite men, women, and children. All right, they set up a society to where the man is not in the household. All right, if they set up a society where it's difficult for Jake men to thrive, financially, and then if you want assistance from the government, well, there can't be a man in the house. Okay, and back in the day, they would have agents come, and they would check to see if a woman that was using welfare benefits, if she had a man in the house. If she did, then they would take away her benefits, food stamps, Section 8, whatever it was. So this all is done by design. Okay, you take the father out of the household, and then you put this violent music, in the community, and you pay influential people within that community, to push this poison on the minds of the people, man. Okay, but the Lord sees it, man. That's why it says, woe unto him, meaning destruction unto him. All right, that giveth his neighbor drink. All right, that putteth thy bottle to him and maketh him drunken also. All right, try to get us to partake in your wickedness, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Okay, and that's exactly what they've done. And see, Jake doesn't realize this. So they get mad at us when we bring out these facts. All right, of who's doing all these things behind the scene. They say, no. They try to get that's how you know our people are deceived too. They're completely destroyed because they try to get the focus off the devil, off the oppressor. All right, to try to put it back on the people that are being oppressed. All right, and that's exactly what Esau does, man. Okay, so that they're able to justify their brutality and violence towards us. But once again, the elect has been awoken. We, how righteous I be part of that number, man. The elect is going to see all these things and call them out. This is Psalm 62:4. It says, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Okay, so they come together. Like I said, only a devil, only a wicked, evil man, all right, comes together to try to figure out how they can destroy other populations of people. Okay, and that's exactly what Esau does, man. All right, and this guy, he just happened to be a pawn. All right, and then a lot of these rappers, they realize later on that they really sold out themselves and their community. Okay, and they regret it later. This is Sirach 13. Another example of that is Ice Cube. He talks about that. Okay, Ice Cube talks about that as well. All right, how these JOOs, all right, that they heavily finance violent music and media and TV and portrayal of the actual Israelites, in a certain light on purpose, man. Okay, it's all done by design. This is Sirach 13:3. It says, the rich man hath done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also. So that's the pride of these Edomites. Okay, they do evil, and then they'll turn around and flip it on you as if you're the evil one, knowing that they've been doing all these things behind the scenes for centuries, generations after generation. It says, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. And that's what happened to Meek Mill. Meek Mill is on multiple, countless interviews talking about how the record label screwed him over. He doesn't get paid from his music. All right, so they used him to push that poison, that shoot him up, drug dealer music. And then, after that message was pushed, they threw him in the garbage. Okay, and that's exactly what these Edomites will do. And it's going to be the same thing with these black Christians, all these reprobates that are coming up, to try to against us to try to defend the wicked. All right, it's going to be the same thing to you. Esau doesn't respect a rat. Okay, Esau doesn't respect a rat. If anything, it makes him look at you and look how stupid these people really are. That's how Esau sees these black Christians and these other Negroes and Latinos that try to fight on his defense. Black MAGA. All right, you're just a pawn. Okay, but once he can't use you anymore, he's going to throw you in the garbage. It says, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear and will not feel sorry for it. So he'll take everything that you have, he'll use you, destroy you, all right, for his own agenda. And then, once again, when he can't use you anymore, he's going to throw you in the garbage. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou? So if he needs you for a certain task, one of his own evil agendas, he'll say, well, here's a blank check, write whatever number you want to put on it, because he knows that in the end, he's going to benefit off of your stupidity, all right, 100 times over. All right. So he says, yeah, we got you. He's gonna put hope inside of you. Yeah, we gonna take care of you. We're gonna be rich. It's gonna be great. You finally get a piece of the pie at the master's table. All right. And Jake is too naive to realize what's really happening. It says, and he will shame thee by his meats until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice, until he's taken advantage of you 2 or 3 times. And at the last, he will laugh thee to scorn afterward. Once his agenda's done, and he used you for what he needed you for, and he discards you like a trash that you are, all right, then he's going to laugh. He ain't going to feel bad about it. He's going to laugh you to scorn. When he seeth thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. Look at this sellout ass ninja. And it's funny because that's how they look at you. Like I said, these black MAGA, Latinos for Trump. Okay, that's literally exactly what happened, man. You had all these shucking and jiving coon ninjas, all right, like that one guy, that black pastor that was at the inauguration. Okay, he did that wild, crazy speech, free at last, and Trump was in the background looking at him. Look at this fool, look at this damn ball, man. Look at this blockhead. Okay, that's how these Edomites see you. You sell out bootlickers. All right, it says, verse 8, beware that thou be not deceived and brought down in thy jollity. All right, your foolishness. Okay, that's exactly what happens to these guys, man. You kiss up to the devil. All right, you lay around with snakes, you're gonna get bit. All right, a lot of you Jake's gonna find that out the hard way, especially in the times we're coming into with Jacob's trouble. You think these Edomites are your friend, you're gonna find out the hard way. Psalms 52. It says, well, and this is a psalm of David when Doeg the Edomite came and told Saul and said unto him, David is come to the house of Ahimelech. Okay, it says, why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of the Most High endureth continually. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, worketh deceitfully. Okay, so the tongue, once again, their tongue, their mouths, it's all about trickery, deceit. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness, Selah. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. That's these Edomites, man. It says, the Most High shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place, and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. That's what's going to happen. The righteous also shall see and fear and shall laugh at him. Okay, who's the righteous? That's the men of the hopeful elect. All right, we're going to laugh when we see these devils get destroyed. It tells you that in Job 5:22. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. All right, it says, lo, meaning pay attention. This is the man that made not the Most High his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness. Okay, and that's what he's done. He's used the power that the Lord has given him to destroy and oppress throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Okay, and we see it. We see every little your plans. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. We see your plans, your schemes, your tricks, whether it be on a macro level, macro meaning on a large scale, or a micro level on a smaller scale. We see everything that you're doing, and we're exposing it all through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says, but I am like a green olive tree in the house of the Most High. I trust in the mercy of the Most High forever and ever. I will praise thee forever and ever, because thou hast done it. And I will wait on thy name, for it is good before thy saints. Okay, the Most High going to make good on his word. All right, he's going to destroy these devils for everything that they've done. All right, double destruction too. And we're going to close out with this. Isaiah 51:21. It says, therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Okay, so once again, who are we talking to? We're talking to Jacob. Okay, those that are drunk off that damn Babylon juice, which once again represents the wicked, wayward doctrines, philosophies, ideals that Esau plants in the head of impressionable Jacob, impressionable Jakes, through his music, his media, all right, TV, radio, whatever, all right, his deception. Okay, it says, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith thy Lord, Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury, and thou shalt no more drink it again, because the Lord has allowed these Edomites to do what they've done, right? But that time is coming to an end. He's getting ready to take that cup of judgment out of our hand, and let's see what he's going to do with it. It says, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. Okay, so they literally walked all over us. And the Lord, once again, he sees it all, and he's getting ready to put that cup of his indignation, his fury, into their hand. And they're going to drink of that cup, every last drop. Okay, so this is it for the lesson. All right, just exposing, the schemes of the devil, the wicked. With that being said, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, or Wadash. And until next time, Shalom, and Abide Babal.